Of course, I would love to not have gone through that and have to live with an ostomy, but I think I'm doing a good job, and I think that it's helped me to be so much more grateful for the life that I do have.
Welcome back to another episode on Find Joy with Joyan, the podcast that is all about helping you live and lead a life with joy. I'm your host, Joyan Chan, and every Wednesday we are giving you access to the world's best and brightest minds in their fields on our show. Listen in as these leaders impart their wisdom, inspiration, and stories to empower you to live joyfully with intention, passion, and purpose, and celebrate the struggles and overcome the challenges we may face each day with the tools and insights that we are going to share with you. Whether you are looking to improve your relationship, find your passion, learn how to embrace the present moment, deepen your spiritual connections, or learn the magic of manifestation and law of attraction to attract more abundance, this podcast is here to guide you every step of the way. As your host, I am also challenging myself to dig deeper to learn and unlearn and ride along with you. We are not here to tell you how to live your life because it is your life. But this life is all that we have right now. So my friend, why not live our life to the fullest? So I hope these conversations and stories will guide and inspire you to live your life to your highest potential and a life that you are proud of as you continue to grow and evolve in your own journey. So if you are ready to start living a more passionate, purposeful, and joyful life, join us every Wednesday on Find Joy with Joyan for inspirational stories, powerful message, fun conversations, and empowering thoughts with me and my special guests and friends. And now, without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. She has a bachelor degree in psychology and mental health counseling from Georgia Southern University. Despite her academic achievements, it was a life-altering event in 2006 that transformed her path and inspired her to become a champion for ostomy patients. A jet ski accident resulted in serious injuries and the need for a colostomy, a medical procedure that creates an opening in the abdomen for waste to pass through a bag, changing the course of her life. Rather than allowing her ostomy to define her, she chose to draw strength from adversity. In 2013, she took a bold step by founding the Megan Forsythe Ostomy Foundation, later evolving into the MLS Foundation, and her personal experiences and the challenges she faced equip her with a unique understanding of the physical and emotional hurdles that ostomies encounter. She's here today to offer hope, support, and make a meaningful difference in the lives of others through her life mission. So ladies and gentlemen, help me in welcoming the inspirational woman, Megan Forsythe. Megan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
It's really a pleasure to have you on our show today to share your story and your mission. So first, of course, I want to start with your backstory, and because your foundation, the Megan Forsythe Foundation, has a deeply personal origin. So can you take us back to the moment of the jet ski accident and how did that happen?
Okay. So I live in the Bahamas. I'm from the Bahamas. So it was in 2006. I was just a few weeks after turning 21. I was home. We were at a local beach that you have to go by boat, which we did frequently. I grew up on the water, grew up going boating all the time. So we had gone to a beach with a group of friends, and shortly after we got there, one of the my cousin's fiance at the time, he had a jet ski that he came on, and someone had asked me if I wanted to go just to go say hi to some people down the beach on the jet ski. So not to go play around like going fast or doing anything crazy, just simply going down the beach to go say hi to some people. And so I said, sure. It was like within the first 15 minutes of being there. So I was a passenger, she was a driver, and I went down. We said hi to our friends, and it was time to turn around to go back. And she asked me if I was ready, and I said yes. And I don't think well, I can't speak for her, but I wasn't anticipating the speed of acceleration that we took off. And so basically the jet ski left, but I felt like it's almost like the jet ski slid from underneath me. And I didn't realize at first, how hurt I was. I felt kind of winded. And it wasn't until I noticed a lot of blood in the water, and I tried to like lift my body up out of the water when I got into the shallower water, that I couldn't move, like it really hurt. And so I figured obviously that something was seriously wrong. And I was just begging to get back to Nassau to get into the hospital to see a doctor. And so I didn't realize at the time what my injuries were or what exactly had happened. I just knew I was hurt, and I was focusing on just trying to get back to the hospital. And so I was taken back by boat, where an ambulance got me from one of the marinas and took me to the hospital. And they kind of told me in the ambulance that it was maybe I needed a few stitches. Like I was in a lot of pain, but still I had no idea where the blood was coming from, what happened. Once in the ER, I was taken into surgery. And at that point, I was in a lot of pain. They did a few scans, and I was begging basically to be knocked out because I was in so much pain. I didn't care what they had to do. I just needed to feel better. And I guess I woke up a few hours in ICU, and they explained to me that so jet skis work by sucking water in and pushing water out. And when I landed, I obviously landed with my legs open in the position that I was sitting on a seat. And so I landed in the direct stream of force of the water. So the water shot through my rectum and tore my sphincter muscles. And so they had to do emergency surgery, first of all, to stop the bleeding, but also they created a colostomy because of those muscles being torn. If they didn't create the ostomy, obviously I would have died, but there would be no control of fecal matter. So I was in the ICU for a few days, but they told me hopefully that it would just be temporary. Once I was healed, I could go see specialists in the States and hopefully get the bag or the ostomy reversed, and that the muscles could be fully repaired. So I don't know if you want me to go on, but that was kind of the start of it. I was in the hospital for a week. Basically had to learn, to walk, like it was just everything was very hard recovery. But I think the fact that the doctors told me that it was temporary, it almost helped me in a way cope with the colostomy, because it's like, okay, I can do this for a few months. Like this isn't the end of the world. So it wasn't until I guess 6 months later, I was doing more tests in the States, in Florida, where they told me it would be temporary due to the severity of the water injury to my sphincter muscles. They described it like a donut being broken in half. So they put it back together, but it just didn't work, or it won't work. So that was 21 years. No, that was 17 years ago.
Uh, and you are so calm right now, looking back on the journey. And of course, it was like 17 years ago, like you said.
Yeah.
But how do you feel right now talking about that story again? How do you actually feel? Just curious.
Part of me, sometimes I feel like I'm not connected with it emotionally. I'm just telling a story, and sometimes I have to, like it happened to me. So I feel like in a way, maybe disconnecting in that has kind of probably not been a good thing, but also helped me to cope. One of the things that has helped me is I want to tell my story. I want people to know just about the dangers of jet skis, just because if I would have known of you getting hurt in that way, like I was a very like scared person. Like I would never have put myself in that situation if I had known, I guess is what I'm saying. And maybe silly of me not to have known, but I just I want people to be aware. I don't care if people go on jet skis, but just be aware of the injuries that can happen. Like obviously people know, you run into other boats or other jet skis, or you hit other objects, like you can get hurt like that. But I had no idea, I guess, how forceful the water, I guess, could be, or how much damage that could do. So that was, I think, helps me to tell my story and not shy away from it, just because I want people to know. And I also want people to know that just because you have an ostomy, you can still live a normal life. Not always the easiest, but I would choose this over not having the ostomy, which would lead me to not survive. So I think that gives me the drive to kind of just speak about my experience and what I've gone through and the awareness of it.
Yeah. Yeah, after hearing your story, I will never go on a jet ski again. Like,
But passengers too, like you think about, the drivers have a kill switch that they wear on their wrist. There's a lot of things that I think can maybe prevent these types of accidents, but I actually I sued the jet ski company. So that was something that I wanted to do just to have a voice and just like again awareness of these things. And if you Google it, like it happens. Like I'm not the only person this has happened to. Like there are numerous people who've been in these situations. I've been actually in contact with a few people that over the years we've connected because of it. So it's not something that's super uncommon, but it's not something that I guess people think about so much when going on a jet ski.
Right. So now going back to the story, so doctor told you it was going to be temporarily, maybe 6 months, but then you realize it's like for the rest of your life, right? Basically. So how did you then cope with that? Like it's going to be me for the rest of the life,
Yeah.
you know?
So I was 21. I was in the middle of taking a year off in between universities. So I started at a new call a university 2.5 months after my accident, which was always the plan. But I wasn't obviously when it happened, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to go, but I healed well and I was coping well again because of the temporariness, I think helped so much. So I went off to school in Georgia that August and I started doing testing. I'd say that September through December. So it was kind of like a gradual thing where the doctors kept doing different tests just to check before they, told me that it would be permanent. I don't remember. I remember more about the accident than I do about the time when I was told that it was going to be permanent. I feel like maybe I thought that I didn't believe them, that there maybe would be other, because I was so young too, that other things would be developed or, science that things would come about that would change my situation. There was an option to do an artificial bowel sphincter, which would remove the ostomy, but it would be something they'd put around my rectum that would be kind of mechanical. And I didn't think that I would do well psychologically going through that surgery and it not working and then having to go back to an ostomy type, like the infection rate was really high. So I think what really helped was my family, my support system, the community I was in or the community I'm in. We live on a small island and honestly everyone has been so helpful and so supportive. And I have a really large family that has been like my rock with support and really helping me on a daily basis. And I also there was a lot of therapy. I was in college and I was doing the normal college things. I was able to play sports. I was able to hang out with my friends. I was able to live in apartments with roommates. So I think that really helped being in that environment and not a distraction, but I think I really also took more I started caring more about school. Is I kind of focused on my grades and kind of dove into the academics and just trying my best in all my classes and but I would say it was a process and I don't know when I got to the point where I was like, okay, this is, there over the last 4 years after the accident, I did a lot of procedures. I have bladder issues that I would was in and out of the hospital doing different procedures. So in a way, it was focusing on that stuff, but also living a life with the ostomy. It wasn't always easy. It's still not always easy. I've been pretty lucky with my ostomy and the healing and my body getting used to it. With like my diet, there haven't been restrictions or anything like that. It's become a part of me. Like I can't. Sometimes it's hard for me to imagine my life before the ostomy.
Wow. That is something that is really interesting, I would say. Like it has become a part of you. So I would say because you have a background in psychology and mental health counseling,
Mhm.
did it kind of help you face this situation emotionally and mentally?
For sure. Once I got into those core psychology classes, that was when I did my best. And really, grad school, I did mental health counseling, and it was like going to therapy every day. It was, I I don't regret for a second studying any of those degrees, just because it honestly helped me with understanding myself and just the environment too, with the classmates I had, the friendships that I made. It was it was really helpful.
So what? So now we are talking about your journey, and looking back on your journey, what advice would you give to people who are, I'm not saying facing the same situation or
Mhm.
condition as you, but similar challenges or similar circumstances, based on your own experiences of turning challenges into opportunities for positive change? What advice would you offer to others?
Um, for sure, people that are going through similar situations where they're getting an ostomy related to that, leaning on your support system, your family. And I know not everybody has the support system that I do, but with the internet and social media and all these things available now, there's so much advocacy going on for ostomies that there's such a community online that I would tell people to reach out, online if they don't have the family support or the community support. I think that's one of the most helpful things. As well, it's you also, no one really understands how life is with an ostomy unless they have one. So I have an ostomy nurse here who is in the Bahamas, and we didn't have one back when I got hurt. It was about 6 years after I think we got our first ostomy nurse. So I would say for sure have a relationship with an ostomy nurse. And one of the things that really helped me was researching and just understanding more, the most I can, about an ostomy, and like having that knowledge just to be familiar with what was going on in my body, but also to be able to explain to others was helpful. And also just the education part. And going through anything life changing, it's also important to feel those emotions, to not just put the negative and the sadness, all that aside, but to feel those and know that that's normal and it's okay. It's not always going to be like that. Therapy was really helpful. Her husband can be, and just being open, I think, has helped me. And I know not one of the things here in the Bahamas is there's such a stigma around people that have an ostomy because they don't want to talk about it. They won't leave their houses. They don't want anyone to know that they have it, even like their family. And so I'm trying to talk about it so that it becomes more comfortable for people to be able to talk about it, because it is I get that it's hard, and it's not an easy thing to discuss, especially people that aren't as open as me. But that's what I'm trying to do, I guess, with the foundation, is just to have this community and support that's out there, that's available if these patients don't have it at home or in their communities.
Thanks for sharing, because I didn't know there's such a stigma around this topic. So how can we, because you personally experienced the emotional as well as the physical hurdles, right? Firsthand, how do you think we in people in general, society, healthcare professionals can better support people who are going through ostomy surgeries?
I think connecting people with other patients that would be similar are helpful, because a doctor can easily talk to me about my ostomy and the medical stuff, but they have no idea what it is, to go through it physically or emotionally. So I think I've had a few doctors here, because they know of me or they know me, that they've told their patients about me, and those patients have reached out to me, and I find that's been really helpful. And just, even if it's just someone who can listen to the struggles or what they're going through, not necessarily if I can't take the pain away or anything like that, but I think just support with people that are going through similar things is extremely helpful. So I try to do that here.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So how does your foundation fulfill the mission of providing support, hope, and resources to people going through the same or similar journey?
So when I moved home in 2011, that was when we had the ostomy nurse was here and I was introduced to her. And she was the one who let me in on what was happening, in our community in the Bahamas or in Nassau with ostomy patients where the supplies are expensive and some people were resorting to wearing Ziploc bags with tape because they couldn't afford to get medical supplies. And I've been so lucky and to be able to have ostomy supplies. I mean it's a struggle, but I couldn't imagine not having the proper supplies because that's so important in feeling comfortable physically. And so when she told me about that, we kind of got together and wanted to figure out a way to be able to help those patients because I found that the government here, nothing was really being done in terms of assistance. And it was like, again, it's such a stigma thing that some patients wouldn't talk to anyone about it besides to the ostomy nurse. So we started fundraising and we've done a few fun run walks. So basically we raise funds and we have a program to where we will help the person has to apply, they have to meet certain criteria, usually unemployed, no health insurance. We're choosing, we can't help everyone as much as we wish we could. We're helping those who are really in need. So we will figure out the supplies that they need. And once they're approved, we will give them a monthly stipend to spend on the supplies. But we also offer sessions or meetings with the ostomy nurse because one of the important things is being fitted properly and making sure you're wearing the proper supplies and appliances. And we also, we tried to do a few like support groups type of stuff, which again has been one of the challenges because a lot of patients won't leave the house or they don't want to be known to have this ostomy bag. So that's one of the areas we're trying to help too, is just to offer the support as well.
Yeah, thanks for doing that because I mean it's really important to raise awareness, right? Because I wouldn't know about all these struggles or people don't even want to leave the house because of that. I wouldn't know if not because you are here sharing your stories. So before we move on to the final section of the episode, do you have anything that you really want to share, or what is your piece of message that you want to leave my listeners with?
I just want my story to bring awareness, like I said, to jet skis. I want as many people that hear my story and just are aware of those type of injuries is really important to me. And also so that living life with an ostomy, you're not limited, that you can set any goal and reach those goals. You can, I'm a runner. I lift weights. I'm physically active. I live a very normal life with my ostomy, and a lot of people are able to do that. And I think sometimes when people will hear the word ostomy or they're presented with the option of an ostomy surgery, they're scared of it because they think it is life-changing, but it also isn't the end of the world. And again, I'm very grateful for my ostomy because if I didn't have it, I wouldn't be here today. So just awareness of the jet ski stuff, and also that living life with an ostomy is not the end of the world, and you're able to do whatever you set your mind to.
Well, you're so powerful. I mean, like it's something that you said, like, I'm grateful for my ostomy because if not because of my ostomy, I wouldn't be here. I mean, it's so sometimes, we look at this, what could have happened, or, I shouldn't, things like that, right? But be grateful that you get a treatment, you get, to live, you get to do things, right? Still function in your day-to-day life. I mean, sometimes we just have to shift that mindset. I know it's hard, right? It's easier said than done, but at least that is the very first step, right?
Yeah.
Be grateful or shift your mindset from negative to positive, because you can sit there and cry for 10 years of your life, right? For 10 years of your life.
Those 10 years are still going to go by.
Exactly, right? Or you could just go out there, embrace it, and just learn to live with it, like what you are doing, and now make it a positive change for people all over the world, right? So
Yep.
thanks so much for coming today, and your story was incredibly beautiful. Thanks for sharing it with our listeners today. Now we always end our episode with final 5 rapid fire questions. So these are 5 questions that I ask all my guests at the end of the show.
Okay.
And every question has been answered in 1 word or 1 sentence maximum.
Okay.
The first question is, what is one thing you wish you knew earlier?
How powerful water can be.
I love it. Second question. Wow, this is gonna be powerful. If you could live your life all over again, what would you do differently?
I have to answer with one word.
Or 1 sentence.
I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't change anything.
Wow, really? Not even, would you still go on the jet ski that day?
I
Knowing what's gonna happen?
I don't want to say that I wish that I could go back and that not happen. I just feel like it's almost made me who I am today. Of course, I would love to not have gone through that and have to live with an ostomy, but I think I'm doing a good job, and I think that it's helped me to be so much more grateful for the life that I do have.
Yeah, I believe you. I mean, that is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. The third question is, what is something you're trying to learn or curious about right now?
Trying to learn. Um,
Can be anything.
Probably trying to be more in the moment, be more present.
Wow, yeah. I mean, that is what I'm trying to learn every day, every single moment. And the next question is, if you have 5 minutes and the whole world is listening to you, let's say you are speaking on stage, what would you say?
I would talk about how dangerous jet skis can be and the water situation, and also that having an ostomy is not you're not limited. Your life is not limited because you have an ostomy.
Yeah. Maybe you can have another foundation that just talk about how dangerous jet ski and water can be. Yeah, I think, or another movement, create a movement for that, right? And
Yeah,
and the last question is, what brings you the greatest joy?
my family, my kids, my husband, just my family.
Mhm.
Most important thing to me. And I like it, if I did not have my ostomy way back when I had my accident, I wouldn't have these blessings in my life. So
Wow.
very blessed and very grateful.
Beautiful. Now, tell my people where they can learn more about you, or if they want to support you in any way, how can they contribute to your mission?
Okay, so we have a website that's mlsostomyfoundation.com. And when you go on there, you can get my telephone contact or email. You can donate right on the webpage. And also my email is mf@mlsostomyfoundation.com. So that would be the best way to get in touch with me to learn more information, and also to find out ways to help.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, guys, I hope you get a lot of inspiration from today's episode from Megan. And she's such an incredible soul doing beautiful and meaningful meaningful things in the world. So go follow her, go to her website. I'll put all the link in the show note below. Reach out to her and thank her for coming to our show today. And if you're not following me, follow me at Joyan.Chan on Instagram, and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss another episode coming to you every Wednesday. And I will always leave you the same way as I leave you with every other episode. Show up. The world needs you and you need you. Thanks for listening, and I wish you all a joyful and amazing day ahead.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again for tuning to Find Joy with Joyan podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can help support this podcast in one of 3 ways. 1. Take a screenshot of this episode and share it on your IG story and tag me at findjoywithjoyan_podcast so I can repost and connect with you. 2. Share this podcast with a friend or a family member. And 3. Leave a positive review on Apple Podcasts so we can continue to grow and reach more listeners worldwide. Make sure you also subscribe so you don't miss out on any episode coming Wednesday. Thanks for being here, and I will see you soon in the next episode.